All right, today we're going to talk about the newest big neighborhood coming to Port Richey. A lot of you guys have asked about this neighborhood specifically. They just started selling the homes, so let's get into it. All right, Newport Corners is a new neighborhood that Lennar is building in Port Richey. It's going to be about 3,400 homes, and it's pretty exciting for a lot of reasons. We're going to get into all those. Let's get into just kind of an overview of the neighborhood, and then I want to talk about the area. I want to talk about the builder, and I want to talk about why someone might love this specific neighborhood and where it is. Oh, and I'm Sam with the Living in Tampa channel. We make these videos for you to know what it's like to move here and live here. Super fun. This neighborhood's kind of close to me, so it's a little different to talk about. Usually I'm talking about areas that are, 30 minutes from me. The Tampa area is big. If you watched the last video, you can kind of grasp how big of an area we actually work in as realtors. And this one is a lot closer. This is about 5 miles from my own house. So I have my own opinions about a giant neighborhood going in 5 miles from my house. Also, I can see why it would appeal to certain people because this area really appeals to me. Okay, let's start out by going to the map. Okay, so zooming out, here is the whole Tampa area. Port Richey right up here where you see it on the map, but it's actually a pretty big area. So Newport Corners is actually right up here. You see Home Depot, Lowe's right here on this big intersection, and then down the next intersection to Cumulus and Massachusetts. This goes over toward downtown Port Richey. And then the neighborhood is right here. It's on both sides of this little road, which is a main north-south road through the area. It's actually a pretty big area. Let's look at the satellite view. You can see as these roads get developed, they start showing up on the map. They're going to add a couple more traffic lights, and this neighborhood is eventually going to go all the way down to Plath down here. So it really is kind of a big area that this is taking up. It's kind of like this. I don't know the exact lines just yet, but it's pretty much over here, and then there's like an old estate in there they're not using. And then over here, it's like all of this. You can see all those new roads. So a couple things about this neighborhood. That's a pretty big area. 3,400 homes, active adult community on this side, and single family homes that they're selling already over here. I want to talk a little bit though about what is nearby, because that I think is very important. As we look here at the map, there's stuff here at this intersection, but further north, more and more stuff is going in. There's a big county government building here, but then up here at this corner, you have Home Depot, you have Lowe's, you have new developments all along here that include like Five Guys and little coffee shops, and there's a Walmart neighborhood market over here and a Hobby Lobby, and there's an Applebee's and normal kind of stuff along here. Chase Bank. You can see a lot of that drone footage right there. This is kind of the main intersection of the area. But when you go further south from this area, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see, just for your reference. Okay, that neighborhood is right here, right? And then just down here is like the big shopping area for Trinity. So you have Sprouts on this side and Michael's, and over here there's Target and Publix, and over here on this corner is Walmart, and there's a big Tractor Supply just behind it. A lot of stuff that's not very far away. So let's do a little bit of map recommendations. I might need to drop a pin here just to see how far things are. All right, I want to see how far Sprouts is. And then for our second location, we will drop a pin just up here. So 10 minutes away from Sprouts, really not too bad. Now let's swap this out with Fred Howard. So that would be the beach you would go to. You can see just how beautiful it is right there in those drone shots. Fred Howard Park is 34 minutes away. That's a nice beach. It goes out into the Gulf. It's a really fun beach to play at. I have little kids to do whatever you want at. I mean, even like windsurfing and boating, there's all kinds of stuff at that beach. All right, now let's look at the distance to the airport. This is a really interesting one to me, and I often use the airport as a point of reference because of how central it is. Also, 35 minutes from the airport. Now, this seems like it's quite a bit further north, but when we talk about who this is perfect for, we're going to talk about this toll road, and that is a big factor here. So just a little under 2 miles to the north of you, you have the big intersection of Ridge Road and Little Road. Home Depot, Lowe's, shopping, Kohl's, Hobby Lobby, all kinds of stuff like that. And that makes it feel like you have really easy access to very specific things. And I love that because I live just a little north of there. Very easy to get to either of those places. Super, super nice. Then just about 5 miles to the south of you, you would have Sprouts, Target, Michael's, Publix, all those kind of things. And as this neighborhood started to develop, they started doing all the dirt work, other things just started getting built. Now, of course, the big VA outpatient center is right in that area as well, but just to the north of that, there's a new car wash going in. It's just vacant land right now. Of course, there's car washes everywhere. Are you guys just towns like that where there's car washes everywhere all of a sudden? And there are these like subscription-based car washes. But just to the north of that, you have multiple little strips right there. That's like a new Five Guys is there. Pizza World. I don't even know what Pizza World is, but Pizza World seems to be like the anchor of a lot of these little developments. There's a Cali Coffee. There's an Irish pub and restaurant that's going in. A couple little strips like that have been developed over the past year, just as this Newport Corners was starting to, really map out the impact to the area. Okay, I also didn't say much about the neighborhood. Lennar is the builder that's building this entire neighborhood, 3,400 homes, and it is a big community. On both sides of the street, it's gonna go up and touch the Cumulus on the northeast side of it as well. The prices for Newport Corners are starting in the 300,000s. And the homes get pretty big. They're gonna do some pretty big models in here, and that is hitting this kind of price and size ratio that a lot of people are looking for right now, with affordability being so different than it was 5 years ago. There's also an active adult side of the neighborhood that will have its own amenities and has a lot of attached housing and some more flexible options for retirees. It's also funny that they call them active adult communities or active adult collections, things like that, instead of just 55 plus or retiree. The thing is, they are very active communities. People like to be out and about, doing activities, obviously now playing pickleball all the time. All of these kind of things are very common in these neighborhoods. So when I think about who's gonna love this neighborhood, it's going to be somebody looking for, a more affordable option that is brand new. And this will offer a lot of those. I'm also thinking about others that are looking for easy commutes. Now, even though it is kind of far to somewhere like the airport, it's 33 miles, 35 minutes. It goes very fast. So you have a lot more predictable of a drive down into Tampa, even a more predictable drive over to the beach. Now, if you had to get to like St. Petersburg or even Largo, it would be kind of a bear of a drive. If you're needing to go to north side of Tampa to central Tampa, it's going to be a super easy drive. There's another thing about this area that I think some people will really like. It's new, but it's near older stuff. When I say old stuff, I don't mean like falling apart stuff. I mean, Newport Richey has a charming little downtown. You're near the coast, which has a lot of more mature towns and neighborhoods, schools, things like that. But you're in a new community, so you have that new feel that a lot of you really want. And being in a new community, you have a lot of incentives. So there's a lot of incentives to lower interest rates that make it more affordable for you, whether in the long run or for like really affordable in the short run with some kind of temporary interest rate buy down. Okay, and there will be a lot more videos coming about Newport Corners because it's so close to me. It's very easy for me to talk about, and I'm excited to see. Well, I'm not excited to see how it's going to impact traffic because it already has impacted traffic a lot, where I often go a different way. And some of that is just construction. It's just always, sometimes it goes down to one lane as they're building out the sidewalks, as they're doing things like that. Hopefully that will get a little better as they figure out the flow of this road. Let me make a counter argument. People talk about Lennar. Obviously, I have my own opinions about new construction versus pre-existing. I actually prefer pre-existing, mostly because I love the more mature landscaping and neighborhood feel. But Lennar actually doesn't have the best reputation. Now, they're a production builder. They build houses fast. They build them to a specification. They don't build them to your customization. They're not a custom builder. And they've been the biggest builder in the country many times. I think D.R. Horton actually holds that title right now. But Lennar used to be called U.S. Homes Corp. They built a lot of the Tampa neighborhoods that many of us love now. And they built them 20 years ago. So it's not like their homes don't stay together. And maybe you think quality has dramatically decreased since then, and it hasn't really. Now, there were issues in the past with like Chinese drywall or some things like that just aren't issues now. But when you think about buying a home from Lennar, it's nice when you move in. and it just needs to be updated a little sooner than some other builders. But when you look at neighborhoods like Tampa Palms, was built almost entirely by Lennar back in 1999, 2000, 2001. And I've sold a lot of houses in there, and they're fine. They've been updated. And the thing is, once you buy a house, you update little things as you go. You add a backsplash, you update the counters, you update one of the bathrooms, you change the flooring, you repaint everything, you put in new baseboards. Like, that's kind of how it goes, and then the house just kind of gets nicer and nicer. And brand new houses are not like brand new cars where they just depreciate right away. When you maintain and update your house, the value goes up and up and up. And that's something that a lot of you know. But I think if you're interested in this area, the price to size ratio makes good sense for you. And maybe you work from home, or you have a commute to somewhere else in kind of the north suburbs area, or the north side of Tampa, or even downtown Tampa near the airport, or downtown. Like, those areas are a pretty easy commute from this area, where you can get quite a bit more size, more bang for your buck per se. And I love this area. Newport Richey's big. It's 150,000 people. It's really the biggest suburb of the Tampa area. And it has a mixture of old and new. Old, charming downtown on the river, old, like, waterfront areas that seem like they're going to flood every year. They don't. They flooded the past 2 years, but they didn't flood for a long time before then. But then you have all these new neighborhoods like Water's Edge out by Moon Lake. You have all these other new neighborhoods down in Trinity. Longleaf is doing a phase 4. It's actually a really cool area. It's really charming. And then on the south side, you have Trinity, which has a little more upscale suburban vibe. But they're not building in Trinity anymore. So if you want to be in the area, you want new construction, this kind of bang for your buck balance works for you, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call, text, or email anytime. Also, if you haven't grabbed our relocation guide, the link is down there in the description. Thanks for coming by.